Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Stolen Tricycle Podcast. I'm Freethesquirls, and with me, as always, I have,
Hybrid Spider.
whichever way you are, and
RoxasPaige.
and tonight we are talking about movies that have been formative, movies that have influenced us, just movies from our past, because we have nothing better to talk about.
How is it that when you talk normally, you sound normal, but whenever you do like an intro or you're reading something, like you sound so
My customer service voice, yeah,
stale.
that's what comes from working in a call center. Um,
Hi, hi. Thank you
hello,
for watching the Stolen Tricycle Podcast. I'm Free the Squirrels, and with me, as
dude.
always, is whichever
I don't even,
direction you are. No,
dude.
it's fine,
It's
man.
so great. I answer the phone sometimes at work, and I'll be like, "Hello, and thank you for calling." And the people are like, "God damn it, another machine." I'm
Ah,
like, "I
man,
am not a machine."
man, I called movie phone again on accident.
Damn it.
But yeah,
Oh, there's a
no,
throwback
so
movie phone.
right,
Good
I
God.
know that's a service that probably doesn't get used anymore.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so movies from our past.
yeah. So you want to talk about movies from our formative years that helped shape who we are? I guess was that
Kinda,
the
yeah.
the
Yeah, I mean,
idea?
yeah, that's the idea of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's better than how I worded it. So yes.
sure.
Um,
How do you want to do this? Do you like you
well,
know
I mean, yeah, like everybody
youngest
got. I
goes
know we all
first?
have some. Oh yeah, sure, great. How about oldest goes first? It's
Nah, because then you
not
might
that
not
it's
know
gonna
the
work.
movies. No,
Oh,
I'm
I'll know
kidding.
the movies.
Oh man, you want me to go down my fucking
Yeah,
rabbit
let's
hole?
let's let's start your rabbit hole because my rabbit hole's probably as bad.
Well, all right. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s because I'm
You're old.
older. Uh, and for
The
me,
1880s.
yes, the 1880s. Yes, the, we had pictures that you had to like. There was a winding thing, and you had to look in the thing, and there would be a light in the
It was,
back that would you know.
and it was just a thing spinning around with a painting of a rabbit
I
in
was
it.
good. I was great friends with Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, cool.
Eventually, in the 1920s.
Yeah, so the movie you grew up with was Nosferatu, right? 1921?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, asshole. I get it. I'm older. But yeah, no. Let's see. I, upon thinking about it a lot, I realized that I didn't grow up with a specific movie that like shaped how I was or whatever. I grew up with a particular genre of films. Because during my younger years, I was taking karate. From like age 7 to 11, I was taking karate. And so a lot of the movies I watched were ninja movies.
That,
So,
all right.
I grew up watching Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mortal Kombat, which came out in 95. So I was 11 at the time. So it was a lot
Now
of
you put your age out there.
yeah, I know I did. Whatever. I'm 36. At the time of this recording, I'm 36 years of age.
Way to date the recording, Rob.
Yeah, because these recordings are timeless, Justin.
Yeah,
Uh,
no.
but yeah,
Just
that
like Rob's age, his youth will always be there until he hits 60, and then he'll age.
He'll look like he's 342.
it'll be like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat,
Oh my god.
where I look really young, but then all of a sudden, by the end of the movie, I'll like ultimately age to this decrepit old thing
Your
that
life is just a
just
movie to you? Like,
yeah. I'll just become this grand old Methuselah and just walk around looking like I'm gonna fall apart at any minute while everybody else is dead around me because I have just taken all of their life energy over the years.
I mean, that's totally what's happening to us right now. So
I know. I'm 36, but right now I look younger than you do, Justin.
thanks. I'm so glad we're friends.
Right? But yeah, no, it was definitely the ninja movies for me. Actually, before coming on here, I was trying to see if I could even watch some of them beforehand, just to get that nostalgic feeling back. Um, but I mean, like the first, mostly like the first couple of Three Ninjas movies were there, and like Super Ninja, not Super Ninjas. That is
Surf
something on.
Ninja.
Yeah, I was thinking of Nickelodeon for a minute, but no. Yeah, I had a senior moment there. Um, yeah, Surf Ninjas with Ernie Reyes Jr., Ernie Reyes Sr., Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider from back in the day. Like, and
I watched that South Park episode the other day. Rob Schneider is a stapler.
Rob Schneider back in the like one of his earliest films was Surf Ninjas, where he was the goofy white kid amongst the chosen Asian guys who were the chosen princes and whatever or something to that effect. I can't quite remember
Yeah,
anymore.
no, I mean that's probably considering when it came out and
Yeah.
everything, it's probably about as good as an explanation as we're gonna get.
And who else was in it? Leslie
Meaning that
Nielsen, I think.
meaning that that's about as good as the movie got. Like,
I think it was Leslie Nielsen who was the bad guy in that one with like a
Jesus.
robotic hand and like one of the kids
When did
has
this come out?
has a Sega Game Gear
Oh my
that like he can control the destiny of what's going on around him during it.
god.
Uh
93? Yeah, that's
yeah, 93. I was 9 years old
oh my god.
watching this.
Sorry, I'm looking at the poster for it now and I oh hey, this is for when it came out on DVD.
Yeah. Um but like, the kid has this Game Gear that he can like control like it's like he's playing real life as a video game at one point and he has to like choose what weapon Ernie Reyes Sr. is supposed to fight off this bad guy with, and he ends up selecting the chopsticks. And so he fights this guy with chopsticks and like grabs him by the nose and throws him out of the restaurant.
And
Um,
this was a formative movie for you?
Man, like I said,
How many people have you thrown out of restaurants with chopsticks?
man, that whole genre of movies, all the ninja movies, Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, Ninja Turtles, and all that, were all movies that I watched as a kid because of the fact that I was doing karate during back in those days, and so it was just those were a set of movies that really helped push the whole like interest in martial arts and more or less the kind of laid back goofy bullshit that I do.
That's fair. Now,
So
I have to ask because we're talking about that the whole like I mean, I guess it's not the like kid-friendly kitschy like ninja movie, but did you ever see and I know there's like 6 of them and I've only ever seen 2, but the Street Fighter movies, not the video game movies, but the ones with Sony Chiba,
no, I did not.
just amazing. Um,
But
really,
I did see the video game movie with Jean
no,
Claude Van Damme as Guile
yeah, let's never
and
talk about that again.
Raul
Uh,
Julia as M Bison.
nah, these were like really bad. Like you remember the like Chinese wire fighting films,
I mean, sure.
like just old bad like Chinese kung fu movies.
Yeah.
When they make like there's and like they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna like you see the guy like jump up and then just like slowly float through the air to kick someone in the face.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It was clearly on wires. You could see him on screen and everything.
Right.
That it was one of those, but like it just absolutely ridiculous. It had like god awful sound, really bad special effects, and a really mediocre storyline, but just a great movie. It was so
I'm
bad it was
sure.
good.
I just never watched older films. Older films were hard for me to like get into. I mean,
Yeah, fair.
even now when people are like, "Oh, this movie, you should have seen it. It was a classic." And I'm like, "Eh, I never saw it." Case in point, like Godfather. You know, that seems to be on everybody's must-watch list for the longest time. I had never seen it. I think
Yeah.
I finally watched it last year, and I know anybody who's a Godfather fan who, if they watch this episode and hear me say this, are probably going to send lots of put down lots of fucking hate comments
mail.
down below. Yeah, I almost said that, but I realized this is the internet age. We don't get hate mail.
Hate emails.
Yeah,
And
but
even at that, it's just hate comments.
but yeah, I thought it was an incredibly boring film. I had no interest in watching the second or the third after watching that first one.
I mean, fair. It's definitely not like.
Granted, I also felt the same way about Labyrinth.
Yeah.
But so
for the record, the film I was talking about came out in '74, so
so
also a fair point that you've made.
now that I've said Godfather and Labyrinth were boring, feel free to leave comments down below and let me let me know exactly how you feel about my opinion.
I mean, yeah, and hey, I don't care if it's hate. Any comments are good comments. Comment away.
Yeah.
Tell Rob he's a dick.
Oh, I don't need them to do that. I do that to myself often. But anyway,
Mhm.
so,
With grace,
so yeah,
son.
yeah. So that's my bit. I mean, I have more when like if you guys want to talk like teenage years, but as far as like as a kid, it was all the ninja movies. I mean, I could.
Well, I think that actually.
I could deep dive a little more by mentioning the fact that like during this time period of watching these movies, I had a babysitter, and my brother and I, and he's gonna kill me for telling this story on a podcast, but
Ooh.
my
Family drama.
my brother and I would dress up as ninjas, and our babysitter would be like the ninja master, sending us on missions to go beat people up. And so, so we would play,
Your
we would play-
babysitter was just like, go fuck up the neighbor kids.
yeah,
Like,
so we would go off and like do ninja thing, or pretend to be ninjas, and it was because of these movies. Now I'm not saying that kids imitate movies that they watch and it's bad. Violence is a bad influence or anything. Or
okay, but those, I mean, come on. Those were about kids doing ninja shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to bridge that gap there.
yeah, but
But I think
yeah,
that actually
so-
ties into
yeah,
to
go on.
Roxas's movie, kinda.
What does it do? What?
It ties the ninja thing ties into your movie
Kind of a little bit.
a lot.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. The fact that we steal parts of other countries'
Oh yeah,
TV shows and movies to make our own.
they stole
Power-
the Japanese part. Yeah, Rob already knows. They
Power
stole
Rangers.
the
Okay.
action parts from the Japanese films and movies and used them, and then filmed with a bunch of like American kids for the non-action parts.
Fair.
Well, and that's why the Yellow Ranger actually has no skirt when it's fighting.
Even though it's a girl
It's a guy.
in the originals. And we are talking about Power Rangers. I don't know, that cut out for me.
Yeah.
Of course, we're talking about Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Which also
It started
I
as
guess
the
you could say-
TV show, like getting into it, but then the movie, I was kind of at that age where the movie really turned me towards doing the whole I want to be a Power Ranger, I want to be a superhero like type of thing. And now today I dress up in costumes to be superheroes, and I've never once done the Pink Ranger as a costume as an adult, but as a child I was like the Pink Ranger for like 3 years in a row for Halloween. Like you couldn't get me to wear anything else.
Yeah, ironically, when I was a child, one of my Halloween costumes, Halloween being like a week ago, but so it's kind of still topical, was Captain America. I actually was Captain America for one Halloween.
That's kinda great.
way back in the day. I think there's a picture somewhere in my parents' house where I'm just wearing like this, the tiny puffed up Captain America top and the super plastic cheap cut your face kind of masks from back then.
Yes,
where like
God.
you don't want to get your face too close to the eye holes because you'll scrape your eyelids and shit.
Dude, what? Shits were tougher back then, man. When we were like, those masks would fuck you up if you like moved wrong. In them.
Yeah, like if you try to talk, you're gonna walk away with like 30 scratches on your face.
Like, it's
Say
not
tri-
Halloween if you're skin doesn't get peeled off.
Say trick or treat, but it hurts.
Say trick or treat. Trick or treat. I don't want to move. My mom made me smile for a picture, and I'm scared to stop.
But yeah, I was Captain America one Halloween. I think, and I know another Halloween, I was like a vampire Cub Scout. Don't worry about that one.
No, I think we need pictures of this, like it put into the.
I think it was a year that like couldn't really afford buying a costume, but I had my Cub Scout uniform and I had a pair of fangs from like I think like it was those cheap like like the connected together ones that you can get for like 99 cents. So I walked around being a vampire a Cub Scout. But yeah, no, Power Rangers definitely. For me, it was the Blue Ranger. It was my favorite. So.
Y'all have like these ninja movies and like action movies, and I'm gonna go a completely different direction.
What was your formative one, a rom-com?
That was the Goonies.
All right. Well, that could still be considered a rom-com, couldn't it?
There's a little bit of it in there.
There's a little bit of romantic comedy, not a lot, but still.
I think he was standing in a hole or something. Brad,
this is
and
our time down here.
Our time down here. It's their time up there, but it's our time down here. Goonies never say die. I really wanted to find a pirate ship when I was a kid. All right, like I didn't care. I don't know, man. I know that movie is like there's kind of that same kind of deal where like they were the social outcasts and the weirdos, and that
and
was me.
Look at you now.
I'm still a social outcast and a weirdo. I just talk on the internet to no listeners now.
Yeah, weird.
Freaking like but yeah, that was I mean it's just that whole thing with like I was really young when I first saw that movie. I think I was like 5 or 6 years old, which it wasn't too bad, I guess, right?
Yeah,
that one. Some of the other thing, 4-year-old watching James Bond wasn't great, but hey.
Man, I had a babysitter who like her child.
No, this was my parents.
Oh, I know, but like my babysitter, like she sat me and her child down, who was like I think 3 or 4 at the time, and sat us down to watch Child's Play.
Did she know?
I don't know. I can only assume that parent was knowledgeable about the fact that was a fucking horror film.
Did she know, or did she
8 at the time?
This is for kids, and put it on and leave the fucking room? Like what?
Oh, she left the room. But like, yeah.
People don't think about that though. It's like Tim Curry's the reason I'm afraid of clowns, and like to this day, if there's a clown coming, I have to be turned away. I cannot look at them.
So you're really better than Winchester. You're taking
into glitter.
You're taking your supernatural fandom a little too far.
Oh, don't get me started on that. You want to start with something that like has shaped my life? Okay, it's not a movie; it's a goddamn TV show that I've been watching since 2005, and now it's ending, and my life is over.
Yeah. And wow. At some point, you'll just have to, carry on.
Don't even start. That is the title of the last episode.
I know.
I'm not ready for it.
I didn't know, but I think I knew.
I watched last week's episode today, or tried to get through all of it today, and there were moments that I found myself so close to crying. I'm like, I'm not ready for this.
Did you actually get through the whole episode, or?
There's like a few minutes left. I wasn't able to finish watching it.
I mean, we can talk about that after the fact, because we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
I'm already down that rabbit hole. Been down that rabbit hole for almost 15 years.
But actually, going back to the Power Rangers thing, though, like, are you planning on cosplaying the Pink Ranger? Is that like
you could say that that's like my dream cosplay? Like that is the like big one for me to like. I want it to be perfect. I have to have everything just, I guess, so perfect, because that's, I guess, where it all started almost.
Because I mean,
the movie world.
To kind of tie it in a little bit, because I have full intentions of cosplaying the the blue Power Ranger, but like the ninja outfits from one of the movies.
The Ninjettis?
Yeah,
That's
I've
the
got
movie
that.
I'm talking about.
that's what I want to do. Is I want to do the blue Ninjetti Ranger. I had plans for it like a year or so ago, but just haven't it hasn't come to fruition yet. But I do have plans to do it. So
I will so do a Ninjetti. I so will.
so that'll be
icon.
like my whole childhood genre and whatever all the way up. So, you know,
Well, if we're gonna do that, I need a yellow raincoat and a big ass deformed guy, or a big dude with a birth defect for the Goonies,
yeah.
man.
I was like, is he going on an it thing right now? Yellow raincoat, big deformed guy.
Yes, but Mike with the yellow raincoat too.
No, you're right, and so did that guy from Jurassic Park, Newman from Jurassic Park. Actually, all of his outfits were apparently modeled after the Goonies.
Oh,
allegedly.
That's news
Yeah.
to me, probably to nobody else, but that's okay. Man, I like him slightly more now. He's still a scumbag.
You know, it's funny that we talk like that gets brought up because today Ronan kept putting the boppy around his head, and he looked like
my
one of those dinosaurs where they're like,
yes, the
18-month-old was trying to be the
Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, Dilophosaurus.
He's also recently taken up spitting, so it works.
Which, mind you, the Dilophosaurus doesn't actually have that, nor does it spit.
No, that's just
those
all
are just two things that I don't know if that was created. Excuse me, by Michael Crichton in his book, or if that was done for the movie explicitly.
Well, it was done for Jurassic Park in some sense, though.
Yeah, but it was definitely just for that.
well, yeah, because you gotta think that they're not real dinosaurs. They're
No.
genetically modified.
Yeah.
They're GMO dinosaurs.
Don't eat them. Well, actually, okay. Here's a question:
no.
If given the opportunity to eat a dinosaur, would you do it?
Oh, absolutely. I've eaten alligator.
Me too. So, fuck yeah, I'd eat a
I
dinosaur.
mean, what the fuck's the difference? I've had chicken. I've had alligator. They say
Listen,
that
I watched Dragon Ball, okay, when I was a kid,
you watched what?
and Dragon Ball,
Oh,
and
okay.
scene where it chops the tail off a dinosaur into like steaks and eats it.
Tangenting aside, so Goonies was your formative. What? Just because of them being outcast and weird?
So they're the weird outcast kids, and they went on a cool adventure, and like, it turned out to be the heroes save the day. Like, which I guess is like every movie from the '80s, but that was the one that I saw when I was a little kid. We rented it from Blockbuster
Whoa,
It was
Blockbuster.
on VHS, and we rented it like a week before we went on vacation. We had to return it the day we went on vacation, and I watched it twice a day, every day that whole week.
Oh, you were that kind of kid.
I was obsessed with that movie. Like, we were getting ready to leave, and I'm sitting there watching it. My mom's like, "Get in the damn car!" And I'm like, "No."
I'm finishing Goonies. I want to wait for the ship to roll out.
It's like, fucking.
I want to see the truffles shuffle.
He just chomped him in the dick with the whatever the things are.
Oh, the
The chatter teeth on a spoon.
So what about teenage years? I know, like, I'm probably the only one that prepped that in his head because I'm overly obsessed with film. But
No, I mean, it's not exactly teenage years because my parents took me to see movies I shouldn't have in theaters when I was working.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Wild things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the next one that I had was Lord of the Rings. Yeah, sorry. That was formative. I guess I really am a nerd. I don't know, man. After Lord of the Rings, I got interested in like Dungeons and Dragons and all that shit. But again, I saw it when I was like 7 years old, so I blame my parents. They made me this way.
7 years old. 7 years old. Lord of the. What year did Lord of the Rings come out?
2001.
You were 7 years old in 2000. Okay, I need to.
I saw it in theaters.
I need to switch from water for that.
Oh well, you're old.
2001. I was in my junior year of high school.
Yeah, you saw it in theaters when you were 17. I saw it in theaters when I was
Yeah.
7. It's okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I saw all those in theaters, and I'm probably a little young to be going to watch a 3-hour movie in a theater.
Well, they weren't three. I mean, the
No,
theatrical cuts weren't 3 hours.
No, they were like 2 hours and 20, 2 hours and 30 minutes. But still, that's a long time to keep a 7-year-old in the seat.
That is true. That part's true. Yeah.
And I had nightmares about the ring wraiths.
Yeah. I
Still love those movies though.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that being a problematic movie for a 7-year-old to go see. Any of them really. I mean, like growing up, there were definitely gorier monsters in children's movies, for me anyway. I think vaguely. I don't remember anymore.
I think the whole reason I would never take one of my kids to a movie that was that long in theaters. If they want to watch it at home, fine. But sitting there for that long, and because like at
Pee
7 years old,
breaks and
yeah. And I don't even know. My parents hate those movies. I don't know why we bothered to go see them in theaters.
probably because of how much you watched The Goonies.
That might have happened after Lord of the Rings, actually. Just a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the Goonies did come out like 9 years before I was born.
Uh-huh.
You okay there, Rob?
Yeah. Just like I said, this shouldn't be water anymore.
Can't help you.
Mm-hmm.
I have
should
wine.
just be like, oh, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go do like 3 shots, and then I'll be able to handle this conversation.
I mean, you want to talk high school? In high school, I saw the first.
Well, not necessarily
right
high
in my-
school, but like teenage years.
I saw the first Hobbit movie.
high school, teenage years, like when like from like 12, like 13 and on. So I mean, like I don't know, 7th or 8th grade and through high school.
Mine was Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That came out when I turned 13.
I think the books did more for me in Harry Potter than the actual movies did. I don't know, I loved the movies when I was younger, but I haven't seen the last one, to be honest. Last 2.
I wasn't big into books at that time. Like, I just didn't care about reading. But I feel it was because I was being forced to read at school.
Fair. Weirdly enough, my dad and I read those books together.
What, the Harry Potter books?
Yeah. Just like read them, talk about them. Which is strange, because he's never shown any interest in anything other than, like, historical fucking encyclopedias, basically.
Maybe he was interested in the history of the wizarding world.
Sure. Shouldn't he read or watch the Grindelwald or whatever they are movies then?
The Fantastic Beasts
Yeah.
and Where to Find Them.
Yeah, isn't that like prequels?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then there you go, and that's what he should be reading.
Or he could read. I'm never gonna be able to pronounce it correctly, but that Lord of the Rings book. That's
The Silmarillion or whatever. Silmarillion.
We're gonna get so blasted for pronouncing this wrong. Just from all the Lord of the, like all the Tolkien nerds. Because even I'm not even gonna try to say that one. But yeah.
And here I am sitting with the map behind me from the Hobbit movie.
Well, then, do you know how to pronounce that one?
I don't,
Oh.
but I'm not even gonna try.
I can't even figure
Oh.
out something close enough that Google will understand it. So
I don't even know how to spell it, let alone pronounce it.
I did read a really interesting thing about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. That originally Middle Earth was developed as a uh, a way to explain why he had written so many different dialects of Elven language,
Mm-hmm.
and he developed everything around that.
And now we're gonna have fact checkers in our comments.
I read this on the internet, so you can see how true that is. I don't know. Believe what you want, man. I just thought it was interesting. There
Uh,
are there's at least like 10 different Elven dialects that get mentioned throughout the books and movies,
yeah.
which is just fucking ridiculous because they're all fleshed out languages. What did you do in your teenage years?
The movies, like they, like I said, when I was a kid, it was all genre based. It was all martial arts movies, all ninja stuff. I mean, and I neglected to mention Karate Kid, but obviously Karate Kid was definitely in there as well.
He was the asshole.
Karate
Sorry.
Karate Kids 1, 2, and the third one with Hilary Swank. Um, yep, yeah, I said it. I watched that one too. Um, but no,
Well,
growing up, uh, when I was in more of my teenage years or getting towards, um, I watched. Now, this one's a little on the embarrassing side, but whatever. It's for the internet. So, and my brother can vouch for this because it annoyed him. But I was constantly renting from
the Hillary Duff
Blockbuster.
movie.
No, renting from Blockbuster, the movie House Arrest.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
House Arrest with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Kevin Pollak, Jamie Lee Curtis. Um,
Jamie Lee Curtis movie, so it's
yeah,
not the worst
well,
thing out there.
I was renting it pretty much weekly, if not like every other day. Like basically, it'd be I'd rent it, and then when it came time to turn it back in, I would end up probably renting it again, along with what other rental choices I had. I was like
With
hopelessly
all,
obsessed with that movie.
with all the
Um,
money you spent on renting it over and over again, how many copies do you think you could have bought?
right? Probably like 30,
It's sad,
or
man.
more. I don't know, man. I had the hugest crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt growing up, which then turned to admiration for her career in general, for her singing career, her acting career, um, and all of her behind the scenes work. Um, but so that also then ties into the other movie that I started really getting into around this time, which came out in '98, was Can't Hardly Wait. Once again, another Jennifer Love Hewitt movie. This time with, um, what was it? Uh, Seth Green. Um, I think it was Ethan Embry who's in that one as the main character. Um, that was yet again another one of those movies that I obsessively watched over and over again. Um, that
I
I
always
really
remember
enjoyed.
the time when he was sitting there talking to the angel who was actually like the hooker.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Um, yeah, no, I mean, with random cameos by Melissa Joan Hart, uh, and yeah, that the woman who played the angel, whose name escapes me right now, um, who was, I think she had a TV show at the time and like popped in for a cameo. Um, but those two movies kind of had had an influence on my, I guess, considering the fact that it was during certain years of my life, I guess that quantifies as like working on my, what they say, what is it in psychology, like the love map or whatever, like the type of like the type of like romantic aspect of how you treat relationships and whatnot.
Listen, I slept through Psych 101 in college, okay? So
I'm
I'm just gonna nod along.
I'm just pulling this love map bullshit out of my ass from watching way too much like Criminal Minds and stuff. To be completely fair, but then on the
He's
other
probably murdering because somebody fucked up his love map. Like, no.
the other side of the spectrum, though, I also was Hackers.
Okay,
Uh,
you're a fucking nerd.
I know, I know, I know. That one with Matthew Lillard and God, is that also Ethan? No, Johnny Lee Miller, and Angelina Jolie, which I believe that was her first movie. Was Hackers? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm relatively certain.
I don't know. She's Maleficent now, and that's pretty much all that matters anymore.
Yeah, but
I mean, they even scrapped her as Tomb Raider.
But yeah, those kind of movies and
In Tomb Raider, not as Tomb Raider. Sorry.
and like Dead Poets Society was another one. So basically, like for me, it was a lot of the more, I don't know, like wishy-washy, romantic type, like rom-com-ish type movies were what I started really attaching to in my teenage years. With obviously some other like rebellious type stuff, like I said, like Hackers being a little bit more out there, stylistically, as far as the way they dressed and how poorly they illustrated how the internet works.
Well,
But what about you guys? For like, I don't know, teenage years. I know it's not as far back for some.
shut up.
I know one of my favorite movies came out in my teenage years, and it was Equilibrium.
Oh
It's
my
a
God.
Christian Bale movie. I absolutely fell in love with that movie when I saw it, and I used to watch it over and over and over.
That movie changed my mind about guns. Because prior to then, I was purely like, not anti-gun in that no one should own a gun, but it was more of like like, why use a gun that's so easy? Like, it's just point and click. Like, I found more artistic. I found it to be more of a challenge to be a martial artist and be fluent in weapons and whatnot. And then I saw
Yeah,
that movie.
but if
and
you're
went,
15 feet
oh.
away from me and I shoot you when you're running at me, like,
Well, that's what I mean.
Though-
It
why.
seemed kind. For me, it was just like guns seemed more, not cowardly, not
like the
'cause I
tough
don't
guy
like-
wouldn't use guns.
It just seemed like I feel I looked more towards back in the days when
Were you
duels
plotting
were
a murder?
duels were sword against sword, not like, oh, I'm mad at you, bang, you're dead. Like,
So you were
eh,
plotting murders,
I
is what you're
I
saying.
saw no honor in that comparatively, but then seeing Equilibrium, I was just like, oh, my viewpoint has changed. This is sexy.
Well, the way that like Christian Bale like handles those guns in
Yeah.
some of those scenes, I'm just like, how long, how many times did he have to do that to get that down perfectly? Because
Oh,
that
absolutely.
was just
Well, I guess I kind of had that same question when it came to like when John Wick, but
John
then I
Wick.
watched his. But then Rob, I know you've seen Keanu Reeves' training video for that, and it's
Yep.
like, oh, so he did it in one take. What the fuck?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Keanu Reeves went through extensive training to be as good as he is in the movies.
yeah, like 3-gun competitions, things like that, and
I
don't
mean,
know, look it up.
I would be curious curious of what it took for Christian Bale to get that kind of choreography down as well as he did for that, because of the just yeah, that was definitely a lot of coordination and choreography to pull off the gun katas and whatnot. I mean, certainly like the scenes where like all the lights go out and all you see is just flashing everywhere. It's
yeah.
just take a blank gun and go like this a little.
But the thing is, though, is that in those sequences, you still see Christian Bale every time a flash happens.
True.
So,
And it's in the rain, so it's just so pretty.
oh yeah, all the fight choreography in that was really beautiful, and I love how, in the end of it all, with all of his posturing and all the all the puffed up chest stuff that Taye Diggs does, he
Jesus.
he gets mind the suit, cleric. I intend to be wearing it a while. 1, 2, 3, dead. Oh, I guess not.
Well, and that's done with the swords at the end too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just cuts his face clean off.
Jeez.
Have you
Man,
not
movies
seen
hit
that?
different.
Have you not seen that one, Justin, or have you?
It's been a long time, but yes. Why are you looking at me like that?
Who?
You.
I was cracking my neck.
Oh, I was like,
I'm
what did
sorry.
I do?
I'm sorry. I'm old. I crack and creak.
I was like, I've seen it. Don't hurt me. Like,
Yes, all that planning you were talking about. I am planning. I'm planning
Guns are
your
sexy.
murder.
yes, guns are sexy. Christian Bale, don't kill me.
I'm planning your murder, Justin, and ROXAS is
Oh,
in
wonderful.
on it. You got
It's on
life insurance, right?
Hell no. Have you heard about what I do for work? No.
It would just be interesting too because I've been a big Christian Bale fan for years. I mean, him in Newsies, I could watch him all day long. Like,
I never
But-
actually saw Newsies.
Now she's gonna kill you.
But I saw Swing Kids, which I loved, which was another one of those movies that, like, coupled with Dead Poet Society, was definitely one of those that marked my love map or whatever the fuck.
Or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. Favorite movies of now.
Shit,
Current
man.
favorite movie.
does it have to be from like years now or just like
I would say it has to be at least more recent than the films we have been mentioning as far as like our formative ones.
See, no, it's not. But I didn't see it until a lot more recently. Does that count?
I don't know.
Well, there's a movie called City of God that came out in 2002.
Oh wow.
But it is a
2002. All right.
it's a Brazilian film.
It's my graduation year.
Okay. It's a Brazilian film. And it's I don't know. It's a story of the City of God, and like it's all based on true stories. And the way they did it was really cool because they basically hired on like one real actor, and then they just went to Brazil and like were like found people who wanted to be in the movie and like taught them how to act. And we're like, okay, now we're gonna do this. And they had all these people who were like, okay, well, they're shooting these scenes. It's about all like the gangs and the drugs and everything.
Yeah.
And they're like, that wouldn't happen that way. That would get you killed. Like even for filming it that way, let's do it this way. And they were like, cool, that's fucking perfect. That's what we want. Like, we want it to be real.
Right.
And it's the story of Lil Zay, who was killed like 15 people at the age of 5 in a motel. So, yeah, he's didn't have a good life growing up anyway. But he, like, they went to do a robbery, like his older brother, and they just took him along in the car, and he like, just walked in and started shooting people.
Holy
at that age.
shit.
But so it's the story of him, and like there's this apartment that like got passed around between some of the drug dealers for a while, and how he took it over, and like just the people around him and in his life. And so what's really interesting is that if you were to go to City of God in Brazil now and mention Lil Zay, people still get nervous, even though he was like publicly executed.
Wow.
And they know he's dead because he made a deal with some like voodoo witch to become what he was when he was obviously not when he was 5, but when he was a little older.
Right.
A little older. He was like a teenager when he got like became like a fucking kingpin. So,
Mm.
so anyway, that I just an amazing movie. Really great film.
Holy
Just
shit, dude.
the way they did it's really cool. Yeah, a lot of history lesson there too about things you didn't need to know about.
Yeah.
Um,
Shit.
and all filmed on site. And like, I mean, obviously, like, they didn't just like go into a random apartment that's owned by a drug dealer, but like a lot of it was filmed in Brazil, and just awesome. So give it a watch if you have a chance, and you can sit through the subtitles. I know it's tough for a lot of people.
What about you, Roxas?
I don't know. I don't have like a favorite movie from like super recent years. I think the most like recent movies, and this is gonna like show the complete opposite side of like what I normally watch and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most recent like to date movies that I like have as a favorite are Pitch Perfect.
Okay. That.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna go with Anchovies Checkmate or something.
Yeah, that's a little more out of left field compared to everything else we've been talking about.
Well, it may seem that way, but if anybody actually knew my background outside of cosplay, it's not that far to believe because I used to travel with the New York International Music Festival when I was a teenager because I was a singer. I was the lead in my choir in high school and everything. And so Pitch Perfect is not that far out of a realm for me because another one that I was thinking of was I believe it was 2007 or 2008 when Repo came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one that like I love that. I
We
love
should
Repo.
we should clarify. Right around the time there was a really shitty Jason Statham movie called Repo Men. It's not that one.
Not that one.
That movie was okay, I guess, but Repo the Genetic Opera.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've never heard of Repo the Genetic Opera, ever. I've never even seen it.
Dude, you sometimes dress like Blind Mag. Shut up. I'm kidding.
On a given Sunday.
The corset with the tutu, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I say that purely ironically, considering the fact that for the better part of like a decade or more, actually over a decade, I was going to the same goth night like every week, and you cannot escape Repo the Genetic Opera at a goth club.
Sorry.
The Zydrate.
Zydrate comes in a
yeah.
little glass vial. The
That-
Zydrate Anatomy?
Yeah, the Zydrate Anatomy song plays all the time, like every night, all
I
the
played
time.
Nathan Wallace in my friend's senior project production of it.
That's awesome.
She did not get a good grade on that project because they didn't like the fact that I said fuck.
Oh, boo!
Or anybody else in the
Fucking
movie
boo.
did. Or in the play did.
Um,
Also, who trusted me to sing those songs? And to hold that one note that's like 17 second or like was it like 45-second note? Yeah, I didn't do
in
that.
which song?
Let the monster rise. And that's literally the line. Let the father die and let the monster rise. That's the one.
I don't know, man. I was always a fan of "It's a Thankless Job."
Yes, job. Somebody's got to do it. Got to do it.
With his hand in the puppet, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good movie. It's just that song just got so overplayed that I started to get annoyed by
See,
it.
I preferred 17. Or no, Infected. I'm infected by your genetics. That one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a better song, but
So
plus Alexa Vega, like
who was a
okay.
fucking
Don't-
spy kid,
right?
And now she and her husband are moving to like some island to be like Christian, like
Yeah.
like it's
She went from like
yeah.
wholesome spy kid to fucking Shiloh to moving to an island to be Christians and away from the world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I saw
It
that the other
actually
day and I was
sounds
like,
a little culty.
to be fair, I can agree with one part of that. Moving away to an island to get away from everyone.
Yeah.
Man, I've been wanting to do that for the last 15 years. Yes.
Um, but yeah, so all right,
Instead,
so
I'm here with
City of
you.
God. Now, what was it about Pitch Perfect? Like, aside from so it was just like the relatability of this, of the singing aspect, or
that, and I just loved Anna Kendrick in it.
fair.
Something like she brought something to that movie that I think is what really actually made me interested in it, because I don't think without her in it, I think I would have just turned it off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I personally have never watched the Perfect films. I've been
I
meaning
have
to,
unwillingly.
but
They're okay. They're not bad. They're not bad. Rebel Wilson's what made those movies for me, though.
yeah.
It's like, I'm Fat Amy. Is that really your name? No, I just say it like I just call myself that so skinny bitches like you can't do it behind my back. I'm like, yes.
I guess that
Earlier though, Rob was saying something about movies from like our early our young adulthood.
yeah.
I was trying to think of a time to like, because that's quite a couple years that you could actually like go through right there. If I look at when I was 20, Iron Man, Dark Knight Rises, Cloverfield, there was so many that like came out
What a
that
good year,
year.
huh?
And like there's even a movie that came out that year that if anybody knocked on a door, I would not answer it. I watched
yeah.
The Strangers, and it's based off of a true story about a couple from New Hampshire. And I, after that, watching that movie, I could not answer a door for a while when somebody would knock on it. Somebody else would have to answer the door.
If you're missing the concept of that movie, basically they knock on your door and then kill you. It's a lot worse than that, but there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
so for me, a favorite. I guess if we want to talk, we shoot back 10 years or so. For me, which would still put me in my late 20s, or moving into my late 20s. The Losers, which was I think a much underappreciated superhero film. And yes, has Chris Evans in it.
Yeah, but there's a lot. Push was even more underrated.
Yeah.
Well, The Losers. Hold on, The Losers isn't really a superhero film, and
Fine. Comic book film.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Well, they're not superheroes. It is a comic book film.
Yes.
Man, he's been in a lot of comic book films.
Chris Evans, yeah, he did The Losers, Scott Pilgrim, Fantastic Four, Jinx.
He did Push.
Push. Well, was Push actually comic book? Or was it just...
I think it was.
Rob, I'm not buying you Coke. Calm down.
That's fine. I don't drink Coke anymore. So
that's not what I was talking about.
Well, for the purposes of this podcast, it's what we're talking about.
No, I'm saying no to Coke.
Anyway, yeah, no, The Losers was definitely a favorite of mine. I own it on DVD even now, and have I have a couple of shirts from it that Chris Evans's character Jensen wears.
You have the hot dog one, right?
Yeah, I have the woman eating a hot dog, and I have the
marigolds.
No, they're petunias, if I recall correctly.
That's right. They're playing the marigolds.
Yes, they're playing the marigolds. But yeah, it's this bright pink shirt with petunias on it. But yeah, no, that one was a favorite of mine. And I know this goes back to when I was technically in high school, but I don't know if I watched it in high school. I might have watched it after the fact. This one came out in 2001, but Boondock Saints is also a big favorite of mine. A buddy and I
You and your fucking rope.
Every now and then we'll slip into that and be like, "Oh, is that fucking right, Rambo? Oh,
Is that me
okay,
and my fucking...
you get your fucking rope. Get your stupid fucking rope. I will get my rope. Here's some rope right here."
Fuck, what the fuck did you fucking fucks? Fuck.
Oh,
Let's
it
start
certainly
taking
shows the
straight
diversity of the
word.
word.
So I just looked it up, and Push became a miniseries comic book put out by DC.
Okay, so it wasn't before, but became.
Yes.
It gave
I don't
the
think I've
comic
seen
book
that one.
life. It was good. It was decent.
That was one of those ones where I was like, I should see that, and then I
Right.
just didn't.
Yeah,
I just
that
didn't,
one
like,
was
never got
that one
around to it.
was that one was pretty decent.
It
It
also
wasn't
had Dakota
terrible.
Fanning in it when she, I think she was like just hitting those teenage years
Yeah,
when Push came out.
when push came to shove. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that covers a great spectrum of time and movies. I think, right? I think we covered a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, and my life would be more defined if my goddamn Black Widow movie would be out already.
And Ghostbusters Afterlife.
No, you want to know what?
Oh God,
Target.
Al.
Sorry, but Target has put a
Rip the
knife through our
headphone
hearts.
users.
Shut up, because Target has put a freaking knife through our hearts. They have a sign up that says new releases right now for the movies that come out right now
Like
And-
on DVD.
on DVD. And the sign is fucking Black Widow because it was supposed to be out already on DVD.
So they have to like cross that out and be like, "Oh, sorry guys."
No, they just put it the fuck up. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's
a picture
up.
of her.
It says new releases and a picture
Bro.
of her.
You were at Target with us when we saw that.
I wasn't paying attention. I was mostly zoning out.
I pointed it out. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, I didn't make the connection, I guess, apparently.
Anyways, I'm gonna go be bitter.
Well, with all that said and done, I think that'll go ahead and do it for us for this episode of the Stolen Tricycle Podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening and watching. I'm Hybrid Spider.
I'm Freethesquirls.
RoxasPaige.
And we'll have another one out eventually. So, look out for more episodes. Hit the like, subscribe, the bell, all that shit.
Or if by any chance we ever figure our shit out and get this onto other media platforms, hit that subscribe button and that like button. There's no bell usually on those.
Yeah, and if you like what
Follow.
you've heard, if you have any suggestions of what we should talk about, leave it in the comments. I would say email, but no.
You don't even have that. Like,
but yeah.
yeah,
Thank
please
God
don't
we're not
actually
in
email
the
me.
instant message.
Oh my good God. Yeah, hit us up on AIM or ICQ. Our profiles are down. Our screen names are down below.
Check us out on MySpace and Friendster.
Yeah, see if you guys can be in our top 8. But yeah, if you like what you heard or see or whatever the fuck, share the video. It doesn't hurt. It takes a couple seconds. Help share the love.
God, what was
Or
that Weird
some
Al
shit.
song about MySpace or whatever?
I have no idea.
And on that note.